You're not a person walking through a world, you're the field. Pretending to be a person until the field remembers itself and the world rearranges. Listen quietly, because this isn't noise, it's a knowing. The room, the air, the gentle hum behind everything you can name. There is a pattern, a mercy, a flawless order set in motion long before you learned the word impossible. You are not outside of that order, you are written inside it, inked into the fabric of creation with purpose, dignity, and trust. Not a random flicker, never that. A entrusted soul, placed in a body, walking a road that already carries. Meaning we were taught to chase what already leans toward us, to argue for worth that was honored at birth. So we strain, and push, and prove until the heart grows loud enough to say, be still, not still as an escape, still as clarity. Because the more you tighten your fists, the more life slips through your fingers. But when your hands open, the story can land where it was always sent to land. Not magic law, not arrogance. Alignment with the order placed in the universe by the one who fashioned it. The mirror you meet each morning, it is more than glass. Creation reflects what you carry within the limits of decree, by laws that never fail. If you hold fracture, you see fracture. If you hold trust, doors appear you could not design. This is not worship of self. This is responsibility, character first. Then consequence. What you call field is simply the weave of causes and meanings that surround you. Subtle, precise, responsive, permitted by the most merciful, who wastes nothing. Every silence has a language. Every pause has a pulse between your thoughts. There's a corridor where fear loses its echo and truth speaks without raising its voice. In that corridor, the labels fall away. Status, noise. Yesterday's dust. And what remains is simple. A heart that remembers it was made to witness, to choose, to stand upright. Not to master the world, but to master the inner weather that colors what the world looks like. So hear this clearly without hurry, without theatrics. You are not small. Your presence carries weight. Your words tilt rooms. Your sincerity travels farther than your footsteps. When you stop arguing with your own value, the world stops arguing with you. When you stand in what is right and clean, reality becomes obedient to clarity. Not because it bows to you, but because truth has gravity, and everything real moves by it. This is the beginning, not of control, but of coherence, not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. The moment the field remembers itself in you, distractions lose their power, and what was meant for you knows where to find you. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself, the air changes subtly, surely, like a curtain lifting on a scene that was always there. You feel it in the way conversations soften, in the way delays stop sounding like denial and start sounding like timing. This is not superstition, it's the quiet arithmetic of meaning. Character study choices, sci-fi outcomes. A straight line, written by the all-aware, where nothing true is ever lost and nothing false survives the distance. People say reality is complicated, perhaps. But truth is simple. Truth doesn't shout, it arranges. It places the right word on your tongue and removes the wrong door from your path. It doesn't inflate you, it steadies you. You do not become a storm, you become a compass. And when a compass is faithful, even the storm must revise its route. Not because you command the world, but because the world was authored with measure, and measure favors what is sincere. There's a tone inside each of us, a note that rings clean when we stop pretending. That tone does not hum for ego. It hums for integrity. It says, speak with weight, act with mercy, keep your oath, guard your eyes, honor your bread. And when that tone is clear, the field around you knits itself. Threads find threads, tasks find hands, provision finds its lane. You don't pull outcomes like rope, you remove the knots, so what was written can reach you. Understand, humility is not shrinking. Humility is standing at full height without theft, no stolen credit, no borrowed shine. It's the difference between noise and presence. Noise begs to be seen. Presence is seen because it is true. When you carry presence, doors open without drama. When you carry noise, doors open and close at the same time. Because the world recognizes emptiness, even when it is loud. You are not here to impress shadows. You are here to bear light with restraint. Restraint is not weakness. It is mastery of the flame so it warms, not burns. A word restrained can rescue a decade. A glance restrained can protect a heart. And the field, this vast weave of cause and consequence, remembers restraint. It returns it as safety you didn't know you earned. So let this settle in your chest. What is yours? By decree will never need you to betray who you are to reach it. The most merciful writes clean stories for clean hands. If a path demands you bend truth until it cracks, it is not your path. Step aside and watch how quickly confusion loses its audience. Step aside and watch how swiftly ease recognizes your address. This is the silent law of resonance, no slogans, no spectacle, just a heart aligned, a tongue disciplined, a gaze honest. When that alignment holds, the world doesn't become perfect, it becomes readable. And when it becomes readable, you stop chasing signs and start walking straight calm, guarded, certain until what was meant for you arrives as if it never left. There is a seam where the seen meets the unseen. A narrow, luminous edge where certainty holds hands with wonder. Stand there a moment without rushing, and notice how creation keeps two truths at once. Patterns so faithful they govern stars, and mercies so subtle they arrive like rain. You didn't forecast. This is not contradiction, it is completion. Order gives you ground, mystery gives you breath. Together they make a life you can trust. Reason maps the road's measure, cause consequence. Conscience lights the lamp. Right, wrong, restraint. When the map and the lamp agree, steps become steady. You don't have to outrun noise. You simply stop feeding it. The heart that refuses pretense gains a clarity that cannot be purchased. It doesn't argue for worth. It embodies it, quietly, under the gaze of the all-aware, who writes measure into everything and waste into nothing. Look at the language of creation, gravity gathering, light traveling, seeds splitting stone. None of it is loud, yet all of it prevails. That is how truth moves. Soft power, firm result. In the field, the vast weave of cause and meaning around you remembers every clean choice. Mercy meets you in places you never advertised. Doors tilt without spectacle. Not because you bend the world, but because you refuse to bend your integrity. People chase certainty like a finish line, but certainty is not a shout. It is a tone that rings when your words stop outrunning your character. When promise and action share the same address, the air changes subtly, surely. Provision arrives by paths you could not design, timed with a precision you could not demand. It is written, it reaches, without you losing yourself to reach it. Understand this and rest from the exhausting theater. What is clean stands. What is false collapses. Sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. If a gain requires a wound to your truth, it is loss in disguise. Leave it, and the path ahead will clear as if fog was never there. Hold to it, and the fog becomes a house you cannot live in. Between order and mystery is obedience to what is right, to what is merciful, to what preserves the heart. Stay there, calm, guarded, sincere. The world does not need your noise. It needs your weight, and the moment you carry that weight with humility, the field remembers itself in you and rearranges what must move. There is a strength that does not clench its fists. It stands steady, like a lantern in a corridor of wind. That strength is not stubbornness. It is coherence, the alignment of word, deed, and intention under the gaze of the all-knowing. When these three move as one, noise loses its audience. You do not overpower moments, you out-integrate them. And the field, the quiet weave, of cause and meaning records the weight of that stillness. Then returns it as a path you can walk without borrowing anyone's shadow. Control is loud. Trust is precise. Control stacks plans and calls it safety. Trust builds character and receives timing that plans could never force. You are not asked to predict every turn. You are asked to honor every turn with honesty. When honesty holds, the road stops breaking beneath you. Delays stop sounding like rejection and begin to sound like protection. Mercy masked as patience, written by the most merciful who wastes nothing and measures everything. Consider the quiet laws you already live by. A seed does not argue with soil. It carries truth in its core and the earth makes room. Light does not shout at darkness. It arrives and darkness changes its mind. So too with a heart that refuses pretense. It does not bargain for dignity. It becomes dignified. And dignity has gravity. It gathers what belongs and releases what does not. Without spectacle, without complaint. The world teaches performance. Truth teaches presence. Performance asks, do they see me? Presence asks, am I clean? One exhausts. The other endures. When you choose presence, your speech grows fewer, but heavier. Your yes weighs enough to carry a season your no guards gates. You'll be thankful remained closed. You don't win by outshouting illusions. You win by outlasting them, quietly, until only what is real can remain. Understand this mercy. What is written for you never asks you to fracture yourself to hold it. If it demands a compromise that stains the heart, it is not provision. It is temptation dressed as opportunity. Step aside. The path you refuse for the sake of truth is the path the all-aware replaces with one you don't have to apologize for. And when that path arrives, it fits like a key that was always yours, turning in a lock that was always waiting. So keep this simple sentence near your ribs. Not louder, truer. Not harder, cleaner. Let it settle the dust that tries to live in your chest. Let it remind you that coherence is not a performance to impress the world, but a pledge you keep before the one who authored the world. Stand there, calm, guarded, sincere. And you will watch how quickly confusion forgets your name, and how faithfully ease remembers your address. There is a pull in this world, weighty, invisible, shaping orbits and choices alike. Call it gravity if you speak of stars, call it attachment. If you speak of hearts, it can anchor or it can imprison. The difference is not in the force, it's in the soul that meets it. When a heart is clean, gravity becomes guidance. When a heart is crowded, the same pull turns into chains. The all-aware wastes none of it. He turns even heaviness into direction for the one who refuses to be false. Notice how creation teaches without speeches. Light passes a massive star and bends, it does not break. It honors the curve and still arrives. There is a dignity in that bend, a lesson for those who think straight lines prove strength. Sometimes the shortest path to what is written is not a line. It's a bow to truth, a bow to measure, a bow that does not shrink your worth, only shapes your pace so you reach without losing yourself. What once felt like burden can become rhythm. The weight that pressed you toward patience was not your enemy, it was your tutor. It removed the hurry that would have spoiled the gain. It softened the voice that would have spoiled the word. Mercy often walks in as delay. Only later do we learn its name. And the feel, the quiet weave of cause and meaning, remembers the moment you chose restraint over noise. It sends back a path that fits you, not a stage that empties you. There is a calm the world cannot counterfeit. The calm of knowing you do not have to force what is true. You do not beg doors to open. You become the kind of person doors were made to welcome. Presence, not pressure. Integrity, not spectacle. When you stand there, steady, unbent, people will call it luck. But you will know, measure favored what was sincere. And sincerity has its own gravity, gentle, unmistakable, gathering what belongs, letting go of what does not. Understand this and let it settle in your chest. Nothing written for you will require you to fracture who you are to keep it. If the cost is your honesty, the price is too high. If the price is your patience, it is a bargain. The most merciful writes clean endings for clean beginnings. Walk clean. The world need not be impressed. It needs to be clarified. And clarity is a light that travels farther than any shout. So if you feel the pull toward haste, toward fear, toward proving, pause and remember, heaviness is a language. Read it before you answer it. Ask what it is pointing to: protection or pride, timing or temptation. Many gates look golden from far away. Only the honest gaze can tell which hinge was meant for your hand. When you keep that gaze calm, guarded, sincere, the pull that once dragged you down becomes the orbit that lets you widen. This is gravity turned into grace, not the absence of weight, but the right use of it, not escape. Alignment, not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. And when that truth holds, the field remembers itself in you. And what must move, moves. Beauty can distract. Truth never does. We are drawn to polished stories, perfect angles, elegant theories. But the world is not sustained by decoration. It is sustained by measure and mercy. The field, this quiet weave of cause and meaning, doesn't answer polish. It answers honesty. A clean word travels farther than a clever one. A kept promise outlives the loudest performance. And the all-aware echoes what the tongue cannot disguise. The tone beneath the sentence, the intention beneath the act. There is a moment when pretense grows heavy. Masks are expensive, costing peace. You can feel it in your chest when the outside outruns. The inside, when the image is fed and the character is starved. That weight is not punishment. It is guidance. It calls you back from performance to presence, from shine to substance. The most merciful wastes nothing, not even your missteps. He turns them into signposts that read, "Return to what is true." Consider the difference between symmetry and sincerity. Symmetry pleases the eye. Sincerity steadies the life. Symmetry needs the spotlight. Sincerity works in the dark and is found by its results. Many things look flawless for a season, then fall because they were built on applause. What is sincere endures quietly because it was built to be read by truth, not admired by noise. The field recognizes this and arranges accordingly. The right people hear you, the right paths open. The wrong doors forget your name. Do not confuse gentleness with weakness or firmness with cruelty. Gentleness without compromise is strength under control. Firmness without pride is protection without harm. These are the tones of honesty, the notes that hold when the wind rises. A heart that refuses to counterfeit its values becomes a safe place for itself, for its word, for those entrusted to it. Safety is not a slogan. It is the atmosphere produced by integrity. Understand this mercy. What leaves you when you choose truth was never your provision. If a gain demands a lie, it is loss disguised as favor. If a room requires you to shrink your conscience to stay, it is not a room. It is a rehearsal for regret. Step out clean and watch how quickly the air clears. Step out clean and see how swiftly what is written finds you without asking you to dim. Honesty is not merely the absence of deceit. It is alignment, inner speech and outer speech, sharing one address. When that alignment holds, your life becomes readable. Delays translate as timing. Setbacks translate as redirection. The corridor ahead straightens, not because you control it, but because clarity has gravity, and everything real moves by it. Not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. And as this truth settles, the field remembers itself in you. And what must remain, remains. Timing is not delay, it is design. What looks like waiting from the ground is precision from above. The all-aware threads moments with measure. He arranges arrivals. So blessings land when your hands can hold them without harm. The field, the quiet weave of cause and meaning, does not reward haste. It recognizes readiness. When character ripens, doors that ignored you yesterday seem to recognize your name today. Not accident, alignment. Storms will test your compass. Noise will offer shortcuts that spend tomorrow to buy today. But truth refuses debt it cannot repay. Keep the compass steady, a clean word, a kept trust, a guarded gaze, a heart that will not trade dignity for speed. In storms, the compass is not loud, it points. Follow that point, calm, careful, sincere, and you will cross waters that drown impatience. Mercy often wears the face of not yet, saving you from what would have looked like success and felt like loss. Understand how protection speaks. Paths that unmake you become hard. Paths that keep you whole remain possible. If a room requires you to fracture your values to stay, it is not your room. Step away with grace and watch the air clear. Step away with grace and see how provision chooses a route you would never have drawn, lawful, clean, fitting like a key that was always yours. The most merciful wastes nothing. Even closed doors become guardians of your future. Do not confuse silence with absence. Gardens grow beneath quiet. Contracts are written by character before they are written by ink. When the inside bears weight, the outside stops wobbling. People call it fortune when a season turns in your favor. But the truth is simpler. Measure favors what is sincere. What was meant for you finds address when your integrity gives it one. This is the physics of timing. What is written for you arrives without forcing you to become someone you are not. If you must bend your truth until it breaks, you are paying the wrong price. If all it costs is patience, you are buying something that lasts. Presence over performance, substance over shine. Not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. And when that truth holds, when the compass stays faithful in the storm, the field remembers itself in you. Winds lose their argument. Waters remember their banks. What must move, moves toward you, not because you demanded it, but because you became the kind of person it was always sent to meet. There is a kind of speech that requires no voice. Rooms can feel it, doors can read it. It is the quiet authority of a life that matches its words. Integrity, worn like simple clothing, free of ornament, free of theater. The world is full of noise that pretends to be power. Presence is power that needs no noise. And the field, a subtle weave of cause and meaning, answers presence with pathways, not applause. You do not convince truth to stay. You become the kind of person truth is comfortable living with. That is why shortcuts feel expensive. They buy today by selling tomorrow. When a promise is kept, time expands around it. When a boundary is honored, harm loses its argument. None of this is spectacle. It is the gentle arithmetic authored by the all-aware. Measure that blesses what is sincere and lets false shine dim on its own. Consider how a steady flame behaves. It does not leap at every gust. It holds its shape, and the wind is forced to rewrite itself around the light. So it is with a heart that refuses pretense. It does not chase validation, it carries validity. It does not bargain with doubt. It walks with clarity, and clarity has gravity. It gathers what belongs and allows what doesn't to pass without a quarrel. There will be hours when the path seems narrow, when quiet looks like invisibility. Do not misread mercy. Gardens root before they bloom. A deed true in smallness is not small to the one who sees all. The most merciful wastes nothing, not a guarded glance, not a withheld harm, not a word you swallowed to protect another's dignity. These become bridges you will cross later, built in silence, carrying you in public. Understand this and let it live near your ribs. What is yours never requires you to become less true to keep it. If an offer demands a stain, it is a loss disguised as reward. If a delay asks only patience, it is protection disguised as pause. Step aside from the first. Stand firm through the second. You will witness how swiftly confusion forgets your name, and how faithfully ease remembers your address. Presence is not hardness. Presence is mercy with a backbone, gentle in tone, exact in limits. It speaks softly and still moves mountains, because mountains answer measure, not volume. And measure belongs to the all-knowing, who writes precise stories for upright hearts. Not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. Hold to this, and you'll see what arrangements were waiting just beyond the threshold of noise. When presence speaks. It does not argue. It simply stands, and standing becomes a sign. Paths recognize it. People feel safe around it. Opportunities find alignment with it. This is not dominance. It is coherence. The moment your inner and outer share one address. The field remembers itself in you, and what must move moves. There is a record that does not lose ink subtle. Exact where every tone beneath your words and every intention beneath your deeds is kept without error. Call it a ledger, a library, a book that reads you while you think you are reading life. You do not stand outside this book. You move within its pages, and the lines meet you with measure. The all-aware wastes nothing. No patience you hid in silence. No harm you refused when no one was watching. The field, the quiet weave of cause and meaning, does not answer slogans, it answers sincerity. And sincerity writes more clearly than speech. Many try to edit outcomes, while leaving character untouched. It never holds. A sentence may glitter for a moment, but the page will not support what the heart cannot carry. What is false trembles under its own weight. What is true stands without decoration. When your inner and outer finally share one address, the air changes, calm replaces clamor, and doors you could not design open with a softness that needs no explanation. People call it chance, but chance cannot write this straight. It is measure, mercy, meeting integrity at the appointed line. Do not fear the pages you wish you could rewrite. Regret can be a lantern when it leads you back to what is clean. The most merciful turns even your missteps into signs that read. Do not trade truth for speed. Do not rent your name to noise. What leaves you when you choose honesty was never your provision. What remains after you choose honesty is what can grow. The world admires symmetry. The record honors sincerity. One pleases the eye, the other steadies the life. Understand this and let it settle. You are not chasing a script. You are revealing one. Each kept promise reveals a line that was already written to meet a kept promise. Each guarded boundary reveals a gate that recognizes your voice. The field remembers restraint, like a seed remembers spring. Delay becomes timing, not punishment. Silence becomes shelter, not absence. When your word stops outrunning your character, outcomes stop outrunning your reach. There is a courage that does not roar. It aligns. It refuses the profit that stains, the praise that hollows, the path that asks you to fracture yourself to walk it. This is not austerity. This is mercy to your future. A clean beginning is a door that does not slam on the way out. And when such beginnings stack, your life starts reading like truth paragraph by paragraph, without footnotes that apologize for how it was earned. So carry this at the center of your chest, not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. When you forget, when you fall, return. The return is the miracle. The return is the proof that the author of measure is near and generous. Stand there, steady, guarded, sincere, and watch how quickly confusion forgets your name, how faithfully ease remembers your address, and how the book that reads you turns its next page. Exactly when your character is ready to live it. There comes a line you cannot cross carrying who you are not. Tonight, let it be simple. Not louder, truer, not harder. Cleaner, you are not a person begging the world to notice. You are the field remembering itself through a life that refuses to be false. When your word and your way share one address, the air changes. The doors that argued with you stop arguing. The path that hid from you stops hiding, not because you conquered it, but because truth has gravity, and everything real moves by it. Hear this, and let it live near your ribs. You were not sent here empty. Dignity was written into you. Mercy has been tracking you in the quiet. Every delay that protected you, every no that saved you, every unseen turn that kept you holding on of it was wasted. The all-aware leaves no faithful step unrecorded. What leaves when you choose honesty was never your provision. What remains after you choose honesty is what can grow. So here is the turn. Stop negotiating with your value. Stand calm, guarded, sincere. Let pretense fall where it belongs. Let clean speech carry what clean hands can hold. If a road demands your conscience as payment, it is not your road. step aside with grace. The moment you do, the field remembers itself in you, and what must move, moves. If this found you, if something in your chest untied while you listened, then answer with your life, not spectacle, presence, not performance. Truth, carry this sentence into the week like a lantern, not louder, truer, not harder, cleaner. Let it decide your words. Let it sort your doors. Let it keep you from trading tomorrow for the applause of now. And if you needed a sign, this is it. Choose the cleaner sentence. Keep the promise no one would have known you broke. Guard the glance that protects another's dignity. Walk away from what stains you. Even when it sparkles, you will not be emptier for it. You will be readier. Measure favors. What is sincere? Mercy meets what is upright. Provision recognizes the address of a heart that refuses to counterfeit its life. If this spoke truth to you, stay with it. Share this message with one person who needs to remember their worth. Write one line below, I choose truth over noise. Then subscribe so we can meet here again. Not to chase answers, but to let what is right speak clearly. Your presence matters. Your voice has weight. And when we stand together in what is clean, the world remembers how to listen.